and Dodge and Ram. And really, I'm gonna cover this with you. Is Stellantis trying to kill off U.S. production? You've got a few signs of it. First of all, they're not lowering prices on their Ram trucks. Rams have always been about $10,000 less than a GM, and they've always been about $15,000 less than a Ford. The window stickers were the same, but when you looked at the interest rate and you looked at the rebates, they always came out $15,000 less than a Ford. And traditionally, Ram buyers have gotten used to that. And when they see that the Ram is at the same price or even a little bit more than a Ford F-150, if we're talking not the classic model that's been out for 25 years from the time of the dinosaurs, but we're talking about the new model. When traditional Ram buyers see that, they go, look, my last 4 or 5 Rams, I've always bought a Ram here, but if you're not going to take $15,000 off this price, I'm going to go check out Chev, GM, and Ford. And then they buy a Chev, GM, and Ford. Ram sales are way down. Ram is about to get rammed in the back box because of this practice. I can believe Stellantis hasn't dropped prices. I think they want to force the union. They want to be able to tell the union, look, the vehicles aren't selling. We're having major issues, major engine issues, the transmissions issues, the assembly, we're having issues at assembly, but that's also because they're cutting workers, essential workers needed to make a quality product. They're laying them off in the hundreds. From the factory, the UAW president is publicly questioning Stellantis and asking, and we're questioning if Ram is trying to essentially force a shoddy product because there's not enough workers to get it out and assembled properly. You've got so many trucks at the Ram factory in the US getting sent to the side site where they get put in this terminology of essentially it's mostly built, but there's a major issue with it. So then it needs to be put on the side for a period of time, and then they need to get to fixing the issue and either fix it on spot or kind of slide it back into the production line. It's problematic. These trucks are being built and being they're being built unsellable. So it gives Stellantis sort of that ace in their pocket to pull out and say, hey, UAW, you're building them and you're not building them very well. So we're not selling very many, so we need to send production to China or more production to Mexico, because already a lot of Ram trucks are being made in Mexico. But since the UAW got a better contract for the workers over at the Ram factories, what's occurred? People have been laid off. Some people have been, they're forced to have those part-time workers taken in as full-time workers so that they can have proper pay, proper benefits. But then they laid a whole bunch off, and then they hired back a whole bunch of temporary workers. So a lot of shady stuff going on. It's one of those rare times where I'll actually say, you know what? I think we've got something. The UAW probably has a really good point here, and I'm worried that Stellantis is trying to deliberately kill off U.S. production so that they can send some to China and some to Mexico. It's not a story that I'm all that happy to be covering. I don't want all the vehicles to be coming in from China and on top of it to be electric, even if they do look, the BYD sedan that I showed earlier in the live looks amazing. We need to focus on, hopefully we can continue. We don't have companies deliberately botching U.S. production, because as it is, Tesla registrations fell by 12% in the month of March. It's for the second consecutive month. Overall, EV registrations rose by 3.8%, while non-Tesla brands increased by 28%. Now, Ford did triple its EV sales, which is great, but Hyundai and Kia doubled them. So Korean vehicles, electric vehicles taking over the U.S. auto market. And if we're not careful, China will, wipe out most of U.S. built electric vehicles. Let's not lose the gas-powered ones as well. And yes, Kia does make a very attractive electric vehicle, and for their electric vehicles, they're confirming that the GT version will pretty much be offered on all of its EVs. And it looks really good. It gets great reviews. It looks good on the inside. It looks good on the outside. Stellantis, you're not helping us out. So before you buy your next new vehicle, consider what Stellantis is up to. Look at what they're doing with production layoffs. We can vote with our dollars, folks. The best way to vote, the best way to help initiate change. If we all work at it together, companies will be forced to stop pulling this kind of garbage. And right here from Automotive News, new jobs in doubt as Ford and GM change plans for massive Michigan EV factories. Remember, a lot of the US auto jobs with the new contracts, the idea is, okay, less gas production in the US, but we'll build these EV vehicles here. Then you've got massive changes for those EV factories. So delays and fewer jobs have become reoccurring themes for high-profile automotive projects in Michigan, which has bet billions of dollars on the EV transition. We need those jobs for a strong economy. So if you want to check out that article at Automotive News by Kurt Nagel, I think that's definitely well worth the read. Now let's move on to some more positive news.